Hello friends, welcome back. I'm so excited because in this video, we are going to learn to sew in a straight line. So we're going to practice sewing in a straight line and pivoting. Pivoting is turning our work under the needle. So when we're sewing together, if we're doing a project, maybe like a bag or something, where we need to turn the corner, pivoting is how we will do that. And so we're going to practice pivoting as well as sewing straight lines. So there's two printouts that I want you to download and print out. The first one is our straight line sheet that looks like this. This is just going to help us to sew in a straight line. We're going to follow those black lines and sew in a straight line. The second one is our pivoting sheet. This is going to help us turn our work under the needle. We're going to practice pivoting using this sheet here, okay? So I want you to grab your sewing machine, get it threaded, get the bobbins wound. If you watch video 1, then you already know how to do all that. You know the anatomy of your machine, how to thread it, how to wind the bobbin, all of that fun stuff. If you have not watched video 1, stop right here, go watch video 1, and then come back to this one, okay? But I want you to grab your machine, get it in front of you, print your sheets out, and you can print as many as you want. Get those in front of you as well, and let's have some fun learning how to sew in a straight line. All right, so here is our practice sheet. You should have been able to download this sheet. We've got our straight line sheet that we're going to practice with, and we've got our sheet that allows us to practice pivoting, turning our work under the needle. But let's start with our straight sheet. You can practice on this sheet with the machine either threaded or not threaded, up to you. All we're going to do is put our sheet underneath the needle like this, okay? We're going to sit it right underneath the needle, lower our presser foot, and then we're going to begin to sew. We'll sew in a straight line, pressing our back stitch button after 3 stitches, sewing all the way to the end, and when we get to the end of our paper, we will back stitch. Okay, so my needle is on the black line, my presser foot is lowered, and I'm ready to start my practice stitches. I'm going to go forward, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to hold this back stitch button for 3 while I'm pressing the foot pedal. 1, 2, 3. See it moving backwards? Now I'm going to go ahead and sew all the way to the end. And I want to keep my needle right on that black line. Remember, the lighter you press your foot pedal, the slower it will go. The harder you press your foot pedal, the faster it will go. When I get to the very end of this back line, I'm going to back stitch again. So right now, 1, 2, 3. See it sewing backwards there? And then I'm going to cut my threads. Okay, you may have to raise your presser foot and pull your work out and cut your threads. Okay, and so we've got a row of stitches here, okay, on our paper. We're going to do that several times. Several times we are just going to simply make several lines of straight stitching. Okay, practice that over and over again. Let's go. Okay, there we have it. We've got several rows of straight stitches where we have practiced making straight lines and back stitching. Okay, several rows of straight stitches. I want you all to practice this as well. and become comfortable making straight stitches and back stitching. Now you can sew this as many times as you want. Practice over and over and over again. And once you're comfortable, we're going to move on to pivoting, which is turning our work under the needle. Let's take a look at that. This is our sheet that's going to help us pivot, practice pivoting. We're going to put our paper underneath the start, put our needle right here at the start, and then we're just going to go ahead and sew and follow the lines and the angles and turns on this sheet. And this will help us to practice turning our work under the needle so that you are comfortable in the weeks to come when we start making projects that require us to actually turn our fabric or turn our project under the needle while we sew. Let's get started. I've got my paper under the needle. I'm going to lower my presser foot, and now I'm ready to sew. Just like before, I'm going to go forward and sew 3 stitches, and then I'll back stitch 2, 3, back stitch for 3. And now I'm going to sew all the way down, keeping my needle on the black line. When I get down to the end of this black line, I'm going to stop, and I want my needle to go down in the fabric or paper. Put the needle down in the paper. I will raise my presser foot, and then I'm going to turn, pivot, lower my presser foot, and I'm going to sew now this straight line. No back stitching. Lower the needle down at the end of this line, raise my presser foot, and turn, pivot. And now we'll sew up this black line. So now, needle down in the paper, but this time when we raise our presser foot, we're going to pivot in the opposite direction so that we can sew along that black line right there. So we're going to pivot in this direction like this. Lower the presser foot and sew. Needle down, raise the presser foot and pivot. Lower the presser foot, and we'll come back down this black line. So we're just going to repeat that process for all of our little turns here until we've completed the entire sheet. See how easy that was? We have practiced pivoting all our curves and turns on our practice sheet here. Super easy. Okay? I want you to do the same thing. Practice sewing and turning your work under the needle. Practice pivoting. And this is going to help you when we start sewing some really cool projects. This is going to help you really be comfortable on the sewing machine, turning your work under the needle. Okay, so print out your practice sheets, grab your machine, and go ahead and start practicing so that you can make some pretty cool projects with us in the weeks to come.